Hey guys and gals, Shane Stevenson in the Missile House here. Thanks for all of your continued support. I have Teresa, a great volunteer. She is actually beginning the first step of processing all of the blueprints for the Little Rock that we've found. I would imagine, I've talked about it in the past, it's about 5,000-6,000 potentially. It's a hard number to gauge when you get that high. But those are the ones that we've found. Usually it's very detailed. There's not many plans that are like overviews. But when you find a plan that is a tangible thing that you can do, that's pretty exciting. And I know it's something small, so it's not related to any of the systems. It's not related to any of the valves. But if we take a look at this blueprint here and focus on these two things, all right, so cool. These were warning plates that would have been mounted here in the missile house. So this is something that, we are now a static ship. But these are those little things that you can do to add a little understanding to the ship, even though there's no life to it, or very little life, I should say. Certainly not like when it was when there was 1,200 or 1,300 guys on board when the Admiral was here too. So Teresa came across this blueprint last season, and she said, oh, look at this. And so again, this is something really tangible that we might be able to do here. So I've taken photocopies of these blueprints. It gives a description of where they should be mounted. All right, it gives an outline of what I think is the width of the circle for the plate, the writing, all right, 1/2 inch red, 1/2 inch black. And so, of course, while the ship was in service, these would have been, actual metal signs or plates. But, I've talked to Brendan, and he's a good painter, especially when it comes to these things. And he's painted other signs around on board. And so I'm going to ask him, or I've asked him to paint these, again, not in the same areas. And so that's one of those questions. Again, if we put it right where it was when the ship was in service, no one would see it. So can we find a spot where it can go, where our visitors will see it, and will still give that same, presence that it would. So we're looking at this top one here. It says warning plate for wing and fin assembly area. All right, 12 required per ship, 6 on port, 6 on starboard. All right, and then it lists that it would be in each screen in the wing and fin assembly area. So that is an area that very few visitors go to, just usually on the curator tour sometimes. And so visitors would not really be able to see that. So I've asked Brendan to mount them on the outside of the wing and fin space. And if you've been here, you walk in, you'll see the TV that's playing that video. And then we cut out windows, so at least people can look into the wing and fin space. And mounting them right there on the tour route would be something that, people will see it. And it will be that little additional new old stock artifact for the ship, so to speak. The other one that we have is for the crane, the operating cranes. All right, so that is in this area 2, the assembly area. And they say 4 per ship, 2 on port, 2 on starboard. So why don't we take a quick walk, and I will show you where I'm interested in having these. All right. So again, Steve, if you come around here, you'll see the crane operation is up here on this level, right? And the ladder is right over there for you to climb into that half platform. If we put it up there, no one will see it. So you might see this little X right here. So I think that would be a good spot for it, right here. And it would say, caution, remove wheel locking pin before operating crane. Again, that would have been up at the station, but for people to see that, that gives that little extra. So I'm thinking of placing one right there, and that's a nice flat surface for Brendan to paint. And then also one by the ladder, as the sailor would have been walking up the ladder, maybe right on top of that pressure gauge or that gauge right there. And so people will be able to see the two when they walk through the space. There's other ones. All right, we've got this large one right here on the bottom. If you see that right here, that is a conversation for another day. All right, because as you can see, that's a much more detailed warning sign or operating sign. But we will hopefully get to that. So if we take a walk down here, now we'll head to the wing and fin space. All right, do not do this. Do not do this when you're here, everybody. So we can repaint right here. Again, I've put my little X's right here. And so that little sign, warning, at the audible signal, all personnel are to immediately clear the red painted area. Right? You can see the deck is red. You can see we have red warning lines. And so to paint this warning sign right here, and then also down there as well, is something that adds just a tiny bit of life to an otherwise 90% static ship. In addition to where we just showed in the wing and fin space, also looking to get one mounted right around here. Right, there's my little ubiquitous X again. And so Brendan, I've talked to Brendan about it. We can have two of these spots here for the warning. We can have the two areas that I showed you for the crane, for the caution sign. Again, it gives the specs that you would need. And looking forward to having these painted on board. Right, people will see that come in nice, be bright red, bright black, and white. And it just gives that little added story for the visitor, because they'll say, oh, there's an audible signal that we could be hearing here, right? And then you got to vacate. Well, that's because the wing and fin is going right, getting ready to go through onto the Mark 7 launcher. So thanks very much. I hope you enjoyed this little look at the video here, and thanks for all of your support. Steven, how many subscribers do we have?
Oh, 65 away from 10,000, guys.
65 away.
Spread that word.
That's right. Thank you very much. And, please leave comments. Love to interact with you. And thanks again for all of your support, and we will see you next time. Thanks so much. The booster and missile are equipped with special handling bands to facilitate handling.